Now in this today's session 2, now we are going to learn from Dr. P.K. Singh, who is the Director of Geological Survey of India, Lucknow Center, and he has a vast expertise in this regard, application of remote sensing and GIS in field of geology. As you know, the geology is also a part of our regular science. So since our students, they are dealing with the environmental concept, and I think it is related to our geology also. And with a special request, he has agreed to act as a speaker in this session, that principle of remote sensing in forestry, application of remote sensing in forestry. So now I am just briefing his biodata. So he obtained his MSc Geology from Banaras Hindu University, Varanasi. He was trained in special data handling from ITC Netherlands, which is a very renowned institute, giving training in this remote sensing and GIS to many many intellectuals throughout the world. And we are fortunate to get him as a speaker, who is trained from ITC Netherlands. He got his PhD from neotectonics from Maharashtra. He has many awards in his to his credit. So he has got gold medal in MSc Geology from Banaras University, Hindu University. Professor Rajnath medal from BHU, and many recognitions he has obtained to his credit. And as far as the professional experience is concerned, so geological investigation in thematic mapping, remote sensing, GIS applications, environmental geology, mineral investigation. So he has to his credit 27 publications in national and international journals. So with this brief biodata, now I would request Dr. P.K. Singh to interact with our participants with his lecture. Thank you all.
I'll be dealing with different principles of remote sensing and then how it can be used in forestry. So starting with the principles of remote sensing. In brief, I just want to know nowadays, especially in geology, in forestry, and many more fields where we have to deal regionally. It is not like that you will be dealing with in particular area. Regionally, we have to deal. So remote sensing is very important, and without knowledge of remote sensing and GIS nowadays, it seems we cannot do full justice to our work. So it is imperative that all the students of forestry must be fair in the principles of remote sensing. Only then they will be able to use the this tool in the forestry. So I'll be dealing those parts. So starting with that, first simple basic. What are the basic principles of remote sensing? You know, it is need not to explain. The remote sensing means you have to take all the information, all the data, and convert into information from remote place. You don't have to touch the object. Yeah, go to the object very near to it. You have to take data without touching it from remote place using some sensors. So detection and discrimination of surface objects by measuring reflected or emitted radiation by a sensor remotely. That is the basic principle. In this way, data is collected in remote sensing. And you know, radiant energy that may be in the form of reflected energy or radiated energy is recorded with some sensor. That data is converted in the form of image, or many times we don't need image, rather we need we analyze data directly. So even then it is form of image. So you know what is radiant energy, what is reflected and radiated energy, that we'll be dealing with. Then different objects we have differently, as they return different amount of energy in different electromagnetic spectrum bands. So these things I'll be dealing. how they behave, what are the electromagnetic spectrum it is being used in different type of remote sensing, and other parts. Thereafter, you have to keep in mind this characteristic of material. Different materials radiate reflect different amount of energy, and on that basis, that characteristic of objects is used to obtain different type of images which is useful for different type of analysis. Yeah, starting with electromagnetic spectrum, you know, all the waves in the cosmos, universe, starting from one end to other end, that is known as electromagnetic spectrum. You know, this is the electromagnetic spectrum. Whole field is given you, starting from here to here. You see, simply keep in mind, from cosmic rays, gamma rays, X-rays, then visible field, then microwave, then radio and television waves. This is one sequence. Here you have to be very cautious to keep in mind what is increasing from left to right, what is decreasing. You know, the speed of all the electromagnetic spectrum is constant. That is speed of light. Okay. In the left side, you know, somebody is speaking. Please put your mic off. Hello. Please put your mic off. Yeah, it's okay now. You know, the speed of light is frequency into wavelength. C is equal to n lambda. Basic classes, from basic classes you can remember. Speed of light, that is the speed of the electromagnetic spectrum, is equal to frequency into wavelength, and speed of these electromagnetic spectrum is constant. So as the lambda, that is wavelength, increases, the frequency decreases, because product of the frequency and wavelength is constant. So this is how it is increasing from left to right. Lambda is increasing, means wavelength is increasing from left to right, therefore frequency is decreasing. Okay, see here, this is the wavelength. This is for the visible spectrum only. Here wavelength is increasing, here it is decreasing if you are going left side. And in the same way, energy of that photon, E is equal to h nu. You might recall, E is equal to h nu. Energy of that wave, photon, is equal to is proportional to frequency. H is Planck's constant, is equal to h nu. It means as frequency increases, the energy increases. Means those photons which are in the left side, they have more frequency, more energy. Since they have more higher frequency, so they have more energy. As you go right in the right direction, the energy decreases because frequency decreases. So this principle you have to keep in mind. Only then you will be able to understand in which band data is collected, what is the benefit of this. It will be coming that next slide. So here you have to keep in mind lambda, that is wavelength, is increasing towards right, means frequency is decreasing towards right. If frequency is decreasing, energy is decreasing. Okay. Now coming to next. Yeah. Energy interaction in the atmosphere. See, when actually most of the time solar energy is used as a source for remote sensing data collection. When actually there are two types of sensors. One active active sensors, other are passive sensors. Active sensors create their own energy and record its reflection, and for passive sensors they record the energy which is mainly solar energy. Many times radiant energy also there. They don't use their own source of energy. So active and passive, the, two types of remote sensing is there on the basis of the energy they are utilizing to collect the data. See here, what happens when some solar radiations comes? Actually, some part is absorbed by the atmosphere. Rest part is transmitted, which comes to the ground surface. But while transmission, some part is scattered. You know there are different type of scattering, like Rayleigh scattering, Mie scattering, or non-selective scattering. Some part of the wavelength is scattered. The remaining part is transmitted to the ground surface. When it comes on the ground surface, again some part is absorbed by the object, which is re-emitted later on, and some part is reflected back. So that reflected part is recorded by the sensor. Yeah, apart from that, this is the 100% transmission. How the part, what fraction of the part is transmitted and one part is absorbed, the remaining part is transmitted. So this is the graph showing the transmission. It means here, see, this is the range where a lot of energy is transmitted, which reaches up to the ground. There is one gap. This is another gap. This is another gap. Means here the energy, most of the energy in this spectral zone, means from this wavelength to this wavelength in micrometer, 6 to 8, it is not reaching the surface. So definitely it will not be reflected back. So if you want to take data in this spectral band, we won't be able to take anything. So you have to select these ranges. These are called atmospheric windows, because atmosphere work as a window for this spectrum only. Rest part is not reaching to the surface. So definitely if you are recording those energy, it won't reach to the sensor. So these are called atmospheric windows. So you have to, if you are going to collect data, you have to look for the atmospheric windows in which the transmission is maximum. Okay. This part actually I have explained in that one. What happens? See, first requirement for remote sensing is energy to illuminate the object. How we are getting this energy? Either it is solar energy or active sensors are there which give their own energy to be recorded. If it is solar energy, then what happens? Some part of the some part is reflected from top of the atmosphere, definitely. Some part is absorbed by the molecules, aerosols in the atmosphere. Whole part doesn't reach on the surface, and some part is scattered. The remaining part falls on the surface, as I explained. When it comes to the surface, means you are interested to see the different objects on the Earth's surface, or different part of the Earth's surface. Then when it reaches on the surface, remaining part is radiated, which also pass through part of the atmosphere. Means after this absorption and scattering, that is transmitted to the Earth's surface in the form of some radiation. When it reaches on the Earth's surface, again some part is absorbed and some part is reflected. या radiated जिसको कहते हैं. This part is recorded by the sensor. यहाँ पे देख ले आप. Same thing I have shown in the this image. Yeah, I have already told active sensor and passive sensors. Passive sensors, they record the energy which is coming from the Earth's surface. Either it is reflected back light or radiated light. Yeah, spectrum. Radiated, what is radiated? Some part is coming here, immediately it is reflected. That is reflected part. And in some spectral band, actually Earth's surface objects many times absorb the light. Later on, they emit the light, but there will be some difference in the wavelength of the absorbed light and radiated light, emitted light. Then passive sensors record this also, if it is radiated energy. So either it is reflected or whole the radiated energy that is recorded in by the passive sensor. And for active sensors, they throw their own energy, it reacts with the surface, then come back and it records total how much impulse was sent, how much time it took to go to the Earth's surface and came back. Accordingly, the total height and other characteristics are recorded. This is the basic principle.